I recently made a video about what are the 5 things which make a great product manager. Today we're going to talk about how you can hire that best product manager. Now, product manager is quite a blank canvas role in a lot of ways. Product managers come from a different background, experiences, skill set, degrees, etc. So the first thing which you need to do is define what does this product manager role mean for you. You need to clearly define what are you looking for and not really rely on those job descriptions which you can get off the web of LinkedIn or any other job posting. So you should clearly define what are you expecting out of this new product manager role, what are the key performance indicators for them, and how you're going to measure their success. Once you have that role profile defined, that is your first metric towards success. What you should do at this stage is define that are you looking for someone at a leadership level, at a senior level who you want to come in and expect them to set up a product management practice, to embed product culture, to develop or start a new product team. Because if that's your goal, then you look for a very senior candidate who's done that in the past. Or you might be looking for a mid-career level product manager who might have to lead teams or mentor or coach other people. Or it could be that you're looking for a junior product manager, someone with less amount of experience who can hit the ground running as they come in and help with the delivery of the product. So understanding your own requirements are the first step towards success, and defining that job profile will make the next steps easier. Once you've done that, the next step in the process is to make sure that you define a very coherent, structured, and defined recruitment process. And I'm on purpose not using the term interview process, because interview, in my opinion, is only one part of hiring that great product manager on your team. You need to make sure that you involve all key stakeholders who this product manager is going to work with, and working with them, you define this end-to-end product manager recruitment process. Now, there are 3 things which you need to be testing as part of this process. One is their technical skill set, their experience and their skills. And I've noticed that a lot of organizations, a lot of recruiters only focus on this part, but there are 2 other parts you need to focus on. The second one is behavior, because product manager as a cross-functional role have to work with a lot of other organizations, whether internal. So behaviors, that relationship building is a key part. And the third one is their communication, and I'm putting that separately, although you could arguably put that under behavior. It's a soft skill, but I think both types of communications, whether they're written, whether they're informal, formal, or verbal communications, I consider that ridiculously important for a product manager. So I'm putting that as a separate category, and you should assess for that in different ways. Now, this recruitment process which you need to put in place, in my opinion, here are the 3 structured ways which you need to test. So number 1, once you have your CV screening done and you've shortlisted your candidates, you need to go through a structured process in which you are using a case study. So when you ask someone to come in, you need to have a cross-functional team of people from engineering, from testing, from design, from existing product teams, all the cross-functional areas where this product manager is going to work with, and that team collectively should work on a case study. So the idea here is that instead of asking the product manager questions that how do you do requirements gathering or how do you engage with customers, that's something which is very easy to fake. People can go online, learn about those questions, and prepare stock responses. So the way to deal with that is that you come up with a case study and ask the product manager that here's the real world problem where I want you to be a product manager that help me lead through the process. So maybe you can say that I'm an entrepreneur, here is a business idea, I want to invest into that, you are the product manager. How will you go through the end-to-end process? How will you do the requirements gathering? How will you manage the roadmap, the vision, the strategy? How will you take it to the market? And then cross-question them as they ask more and more, as they give you more and more answers. So that's the process. And while you're running the interviews, instead of just asking them plain questions on how do you gather requirements and what have you done previously, one thing you can do is use the STAR mechanism for asking questions, which is situation, task, action, and response. So basically you ask them kind of behavioral questions in the fashion of tell me about a time where you had to do this. An example of that could be tell me about a time you had to deal with a very difficult customer. Tell me about a time when you had to pivot strategy or change prioritization in the last minute, and how do you deal with that? What was the response internally and externally, and how do you deal with that? You can come up with a lot of questions like that, and the idea here is that you are pushing the candidate to give you real life example. This will not only allow you to test what they have done in the past, validate the experiences instead of them narrating you that I've done this or that on a more action oriented basis. You're testing this more on an outcome basis. So you are validating the experience they're telling you, and you are putting them on spot to come up with these business cases, these previous experiences on spot. So this will also test their communication skills and how do they handle these difficult questions and come up with these ideas and their past experiences based on their previous skill set and knowledge. ask for a narrative style or written response to a case study, a question, and that's your way to judge how do they communicate informal in writing. A product manager will be writing a lot of documents, whether they're internal or external. There could be newsletters, there could be emails, there could be requirements documents. So you need to assess how do they document. Are they coherent? Are they structured? Are they clear in how they document things, how they communicate things? And the last part in the process, in my opinion, is the team gets together and you need to make sure that in the start of the process, you have to find a matrix of weightage, a criteria based on which different people who are part of the interview or recruitment process can judge that candidate. You need to be data-driven here rather than rely on your gut feel, although I think that's also one thing you should consider, and not just rely on data, but to make the process more objective and structured, you can put different things in as criteria and put weightage on that. Maybe communication skills is more important for this role based on the circumstances. Maybe the way the person deals requirements is more important, or maybe it's a strategic or leadership role, so team management is more important, or maybe that this is a role which is going to work on core services or more technical things working with engineering, so the technical knowledge is more important. So I think once you've identified those various criteria, those various skills and behaviors you need from this candidate, you should put a certain weightage on them. And once everybody has assessed from that cross-functional team, your engineers, your testers, your design folks, your product, they should put certain scores on that, and that will give you a more objective flavor of what does the whole team thinks about that. The other reason this is important is that this will allow you to provide more useful feedback to the candidate. These days, it's a very competitive market for hiring product managers, and nobody likes the fact that you ask someone to come in and spend maybe 4 or 5 hours as part of the recruitment process and not provide them any feedback. So it's really important that you not only gather that feedback, but you run the whole process in a way where this person is completely engaged and you can provide that feedback back to them.